Guys, today we are going to learn about accrued and prepaid expenses. But before that, let me introduce the members. The members are Alia, Noriza, Farah, and Honey. So the first subtopic is accrued expenses. Accrued expenses is when a business incurs first and pays later. Incurs here means is performed. The examples for accrued expenses are utilities and salaries.
To show you guys an example of accrued expense, here is a question. A business pays salaries to employees every month at the beginning of the next month. It means that salary for June is paid on the 1st of July. The employees are paid 20,000 ringgit a month. The salaries incurred for the 12-month period is 240,000 ringgit because 20,000 ringgit per month for 12 months. The salaries for July of the previous year until May of the current year have been paid. The fiscal year of business ends every 30th of June. To ease our work in recording the transaction in the accounts, we make a timeline. The salaries for July of previous year to April of the current year have been paid. The amount is 200,000 ringgit and we call it as balance BD. As my salary is paid on the 1st of June, we need to show the transaction. The question mark here refers to the June salaries that will be incurred. Here are the transaction of the account. For salaries expense account, on the debit side, we record balance BD account 200,000 ringgit, which is salaries from July of previous year until April of the current year. Next, we open bank account May salaries because it is need to pay at the 1st of June 20,000 ringgit. To show the amount of June salaries have been incurred, salaries expense are debited for 20,000 ringgit. For accrued salaries expense account, since the June salaries have not been paid, the amount is credited to accrued salaries account to indicate the amount is still owing. The amount is 20,000 ringgit. Next, on the credit side of salaries expense, we write Sochi with the amount of total salaries for 1 year, 240,000 ringgit. Thus, that is the amount that we will need to transfer to Sochi later. We sum up and we got 240,000 ringgit.
The next subtopic is prepaid expenses. Prepaid expenses is when a business pays first and incurs later. As I said, incurs means is performed. The examples for prepaid expenses are mobile prepaid and insurance. Remember, incurs means is performed.
To show you guys an example of prepaid expense, here's a question. A business rents a space in Kuala Lumpur in the year 2015. The expense for the whole year is 10,800 ringgit. It is agreed that the business will pay the rent at the beginning of every 3 months. The last payment of the fiscal year was made on the 1st of July for 2,700 ringgit. The business's financial year ends on the 31st of July. To ease our work in recording the transaction in the required accounts, we make a timeline. So, as it is stated, the expense for the whole year is 10,800 ringgit. The green date on the timeline indicates the date of our payments as we agree to pay rent at the beginning of every 3 months. Our fiscal year ends on 31st July. Thus, we prepaid 2 months, which is 1,800 ringgit. So, let us see how we record in the accounts.
By using the timeline we made earlier, I'll explain to you how we are going to record this transaction using the first method. For the first method, we open the rent expense account. This account is categorized as an expense, and the important thing you want to understand when recording this transaction is what goes into the debit and what goes into the credit side. Let's take a look at the debit side. Here we are going to record all payments that has been made. Since we paid at the beginning of every 3 months, we'll write it as the following. Moving on to the credit side, we will record two major transactions. This includes the amount that is relevant and the amount that is not relevant to the financial year. A relevant amount, what I mean, is the payment made within the financial year. As you can see, all payments have been made within the financial year, but the last payment is special. Since we paid the rent 3 months in one go, this means that we're paying for July, August, and September. Here we can understand that the month of July is within the financial year, but August and September are not. The relevant amount would be the payment made on July alone. Thus, we will record this in the credit side as Sochi 6,300 ringgit. Now, why is it 6,300? It's because we are combining the two previous payment and the payment made on July. The payment made on July alone is 900, plus that with 2,700 plus 2,700, and you will get 6,300. For the amount that is not relevant to the financial year, we will take it out, and in this case, it's the payment made for August and September. We'll write this amount as prepaid rent, 1,800, and we're done. Finally, we'll open the prepaid rent account and transfer the amount to the debit side.
Next, I will be introducing method 2 by using the same timeline as before. First, let's open prepaid rent account, which is an asset. As you can see, the payment is on 1st January, 1st April, and 1st July. So, for debit prepaid rent, we record every payment as bank. And on the credit side, we record rent expense, which is the total payment for the fiscal year, which is 2,700 ringgit times 2 plus 900 ringgit. Then, we close the amount by writing balance CD and balance BD below. And we sum up the total. Next, we open rent expense account. On the debit side, we record prepaid rent with the same value, which is 6,300 ringgit. Then on the credit side, we write Sochi with the amount required to balance the account. Thus, this is the value that we are going to transfer to Sochi later.